Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have our final video for our top 100 recruits in the 2025 class. In this video, we're going to have number 20 through number 1. And with that, let's get right into it. So number 20, we have Khalil Lockett. He's a number 2 wide receiver, and he is going to Texas. A 6'3 wideout with elite measurables, and I mean elite. Long arms, super large catch radius, long strider, but also moves very fluid in space, very elusive after the catch, and can make plays at all 3 levels. He's the type of guy that's open no matter what when he's left one-on-one. Jump balls are no worse than 80-20 with him, at least at this point in time. Understands the position very well and looks very fine-tuned. Doesn't have blazing speed or elite level acceleration right now, but between his long strides and sudden movement, that doesn't really matter. Expect him to shine early and often at Texas in a loaded wide receiver room. Sometimes a kid is too good to keep off the field, and we saw Khalil Lockett in the offseason at these All-American games, and he performed probably the best out of any receiver that wasn't named DAKORIEN more, and we'll get to more later on in the video. But Lockett is no worse than the second best wide receiver in this class. At number 19, we have Ty Haywood. He's the number 5 offensive tackle, and when I made this, he was committed to Alabama, but he's no longer committed there. It looks like he's going to head to Michigan, but standing at 6'5", 280 pounds, obviously he has some room to add weight and will need to do so. Haywood doesn't look as far along as some of the other tackles in the class, but the measurables and tools are there to be elite. Long wingspan, and that leads to him being a great pass blocker. I'd say there's a pretty good difference between his run blocking and pass blocking right now. He doesn't have that devastating power as others, but moves well in space. The last thing I'll say on Haywood is that the potential is first round, no doubt, but that'll only come from a lot of technical improvement and increased size. Number 18, we have Brandon Finney. He is a number 5 corner, and he is going to Oregon. One of the biggest risers in the 2025 class. There's a glaring difference between his junior and senior year tape. A tall, very physical corner that understands the position very well, thrives in zone coverage as he covers ground very quickly, turns into a wide receiver when the ball's in the air. He's up there with the best in the class for ball skills, and that shows up very often on film. When he puts it together mechanically, I think we're talking about a potential first round pick. Right now, you have to like Finney due to the physical traits, standing at 6'2", 190 pounds. He has the frame to make an impact early in college. Number 17, we have Lamont Rogers. He's the number 4 offensive tackle, and he is headed to Texas A&M. One of the most offered tackles in the class, Rogers has propelled himself to 5-star status, devastating run blocker, and carries a 6'7", 320-pound frame with ease. Once he gets to the defender, it's ball game. Drives his feet through the whistle and drives defenders back. I imagine Texas A&M will pull him often as he does a great job in space, great at getting to defensive backs and staying attached to them at the next level. Buy your stock now in Rogers. He'll look the part from everyone else early on at Texas A&M. At number 16, we have Dejon Lee, the number 4 corner, and he is headed to Alabama. A very tall corner, standing at 6'4". Another guy we got to see at the All-American game. For his size, he moves well in space, and all the tools you want are there for a defensive back. Watching him, at first I thought he could potentially move to safety just because of his size, but then I saw him in press coverage, and it was textbook. He not only has a very long wingspan, but he knows how to use it. Has the ability to entirely take a side of the field away. As good as he is in coverage, he fits the common theme of this defensive back class. He loves to come up and hit in the run game. Very sure tackler that you can expect to get an early look once he gets to Bama. At number 15, we have Naeem Alford, the number 3 corner, and he is headed to Oregon. Standing at 6'2", 195 pounds, Alford is the most college-ready corner in this class in terms of frame, weight, and size. He will obviously gain muscle as an early enrollee, which will give him a chance to play early. Tall, strong corner that plays very physical on the perimeter. Quick reaction time and diagnoses plays at a good speed. He loves to come up and tackle in the run game. He needs to become more fluid when going from a back pedal than east and west. We saw that at the All-American game, where it wasn't as sharp as you'd like. With that being said, it's coachable and it's something I'm sure Alford will work on. No doubt a projected high round draft pick. And with Alford, I mentioned he's the most college-ready corner in terms of like his physical traits. But like the football technicality, that's why I did drop him a little bit for my rankings personally. At number 14, we have Isaiah Gibson. He is the number 1 edge, and he is headed to Georgia. Not only is Gibson going to be a future Bulldog, but he is also a dog on the field. Relentless effort and overwhelming speed-strength combination off the edge. He doesn't have a great arsenal of pass rush moves right now, but I believe that'll come later on down the road. Physically, he's come a long way since his junior season, but there's certainly more room to grow. With the edge position, it's important to remember a lot of these guys are nowhere near their full potential, both body-wise and technique-wise. Gibson is almost certainly someone Georgia saw a lot in, but they know it may take some time. No problem with that. When it all comes together, Gibson may be a first-round pick. Number 13, we have Zayden Walker. He's the number 1 linebacker, and he is headed to Georgia. Versatile front 7 player. Walker stands at 6'2", 230 pounds right now, and he has a lot of room to add even more muscle mass. It wasn't much of a decision for me when choosing the number 1 linebacker in the class. Walker has played both off-ball and on-the-ball linebacker, but it's safe to say he can do the same at the next level. He's excelled at both already, and the way Georgia plays defense, there may be a spot for him to fill early on. The dynamic pass rusher doesn't have much power yet, but is very quick and sudden with his moves. He's a sure tackler in space and has deceptive speed. He's a long strider that's still figuring it out. When Walker puts it together at the next level, look out. And I'll just say this, I think Zayden Walker has a chance to be the next Jalen Walker type of player on that Georgia defense. They play very similar, and when you watch Zayden Walker on film, like I said, he comes off the edge, but he also can stand in the middle of the field and just be a one-man wrecking crew at Mike linebacker. So I think that's a big thing for him going forward, learning to do both and maximizing his potential. At number 12, we have DJ Pickett. He is the number 2 corner, and he is going to LSU. One of the more unique prospects in the class. Pickett owns height and wingspan that are very rare. He stands at 6'4", 180 pounds, and he will have the ability and frame to play anywhere in the secondary. He's a kid that you take and figure out the rest later on. Excelled on both sides of the ball and is elite at pinpointing the ball in the air. His speed, vertical leap, and physicality are all very elite. I was hesitant to put him in the top 5 of the class because of what's happened recently to corners of his stature. With that, I'm still confident Pickett made a good choice going to play with Corey Raymond, the defensive backs coach at LSU. He needs to shore up some mechanics in man coverage and when pressing, but he has the wingspan and height to hopefully one day be an elite man press corner for the Tigers. At number 11, we have Andrew Babalola. He's a number 3 offensive tackle, and he is headed to Michigan. An athletic, big-time pass protector, currently stands at 6'6", 285 pounds. No doubt has the frame and athleticism to carry north of 300. That'll be crucial for him at the next level. With him at tackle, it gives the offense a lot of versatility. Unique combo of speed and power. Carries his current weight well in space. You can tell he's technically advanced based on how he handles pressure. He anchors well and uses his hands. He's very good versus power and speed rushers. He's only going to get better and be the blindside protector for Bryce Underwood hopefully one day for Michigan. Another thing on Babalola, we did see him at the Under Armour All-American game. Now he does look kind of small right now. Like we said, he's only 285 pounds. But the frame is massive, and that's why I have him at number 11. When everything comes together, he will no doubt be the left tackle for Michigan at some point. At number 10, we have Justice Terry. He's the number 2 D lineman, and he is headed to Texas. Terry has all the traits you want for a big-time defensive lineman. At this stage of his career, he's more physical and is a handful to deal with inside. Has the potential to become a 2-gap player, and that fits perfectly with what Texas has done the last few years. If there was one thing Terry has that many others don't, it's his rare strength and long wingspan. This class seems to have more guys like that, and Terry is certainly near the top. That's something you can't teach or coach, and that's something Terry must capitalize on. He's a true specimen at this stage of his career. At number 9, we have Michael FASUSI, the number 2 offensive tackle, and he is headed to Oklahoma. Got a better look at FASUSI during his senior season and during the All-American game. He's a mountain of a man at 6'6", 300 pounds. Now after watching him, the first thing I thought of was that he has a long ways to go. With that being said, he's an elite prospect. His physical traits and overall potential heavily outweigh his mechanics right now, but that's all fixable. The measurables are elite, the movement is elite, especially in space. He thrives in the run game, but pass protection is where he'll need to improve. He's already 300 pounds, but can certainly carry more weight with ease. That added weight and muscle will only help his ability to anchor and handle those power rushers at the next level. At number 8, we have Jonah Williams. He is the number 1 safety, and he is headed to Texas. Dynamic athlete is the best way to describe Williams. No one really knows where exactly he'll play next year. It'll be either safety or linebacker, and wherever it is, expect great things to happen. He has the frame to play either of those, linebacker or safety, and the overall speed to do so. He's a big-time blitzer on tape and comes downhill at full speed. Very good form tackler and plays excellent in space. A good indicator for what type of athlete you're watching is how they moved east and west after running full speed. That's important for a potential safety, and Williams looks the part in this class. Kyle Hamilton, Isaiah Simmons, and James Williams come to mind when looking for similar players. He has traits from all 3 of those guys. His tackling, man-to-man ability, and zone coverage are all elite right now, and you can probably expect Williams to get an early look once he gets to Texas. At number 7, we have Tavian St. Clair. He is the number 3 quarterback, and he is going to Ohio State. Standing at 6'4", 230 pounds, St. Clair is a big-time athlete for his size, has everything you're looking for in a quarterback, great from the pocket and threading the needle, has shown a lot of different arm angles on throws. That's a credit to him and his ability to handle pressure. Steps in the throws regardless of incoming defenders. He isn't the most elusive runner, doesn't make guys miss, but he's great at picking up extra yards. His physicality will be a major weapon in the run game, especially with his size coming downhill. The only real knock on St. Clair is the competition he played against, and the best he's looked was at camps over the summer. That year or two to learn the offense at Ohio State will be huge for him, and if everything clicks, he no doubt has the potential to be a first-round pick. At number 6, we have Elijah Griffin, the number 1 defensive lineman, and he is going to Georgia. The next great Georgia defensive lineman, standing at 6'5", 290 pounds, has all the physical traits you want for the position, can play anywhere across the defensive front, he thrives inside by using his power, his long arms, elite strength combo is lethal and makes him nearly impossible to block one-on-one. Jalen Carter was the most disruptive force Kirby Smart has had. Expect Griffin to make a similar impact. Players of this type are very rare, especially along the interior defensive line. And we saw Griffin at the Under Armour All-American game, going up against some of the best offensive linemen in high school football. And it really didn't matter. I mean, Griffin absolutely dominated that game, and he was unblockable every time he was on the field. At number 5, we have Devin Sanchez, the number 1 corner, and he is going to Ohio State. Standing at 6'2", 175 pounds, Sanchez has an elite frame for a corner. Physical traits are elite, and movement in space is next level good. A ways to go, adding muscle mass and weight. If he does, which we anticipate he will, look for him to be an elite level press corner. Long wingspan, standing at 6'2", will make him a tough corner to beat on the perimeter. Despite not being the biggest guy out there, he loves to come up and tackle in the run game, and he plays near the line of scrimmage very often. We've seen a lot of defensive backs with similar builds to Sanchez thrive the past 5 seasons. See Sanchez at any All-American games, so we just had his film to go off of, and even with that, there's nothing to be disappointed about. At number 4, we have DAKORIEN Moore, the number 1 wide receiver, and he is going to Oregon. And Moore is the most elusive player in this class. He has ideal size at 6 foot, 190 pounds. What makes Moore such a special prospect is his ability to play inside and outside without a drop-off. Elite vertical leap to get 50-50 balls. He has a great set of releases that he showcased throughout his senior season. He's a 3-level threat that makes it very difficult to slow him down one-on-one. Elite level speed to go deep. He thrives on running deep posts and understands blind spots very well. He can also take a 5-yard pass to the house at any time. And with that, he's dynamic in the return game. He had a punt return in the All-American game. Overall, the sky's the limit for Moore. At number 3, we have Keelan Russell. He's the number 2 quarterback, and he is headed to Alabama. Very few quarterbacks have gone up ranking boards as much as Russell has, whether it was his impressive performance at Elite 11 or his overall senior season. Russell has garnered a lot of attention, and rightfully so. He's certainly in the discussion for best pocket passer, but he also has great escapability. Once a play breaks down, he turns into an elite runner that's hard to bring down. He played for one of the best high schools in America at Duncanville with a lot of talent around him. He had no problem getting them the ball. He'll do the same at Alabama. Sky's the limit for Russell, and I expect him to be in contention for that starting job at Alabama. I know they have Ty Simpson, and I know they have Austin Mack. I mean, Keelan Russell is a very talented player. At number 2, we have David Sanders Jr. He is the number 1 offensive tackle, and he is headed to Tennessee. Standing at 6'6", 300 pounds, Sanders is a guy a lot of teams could have used in 2024. An early enrollee at Tennessee with a ton of upside. For his size, he moves side to side with ease and is very agile. To me, he has the best anchor in the class and shines in pass protection. Tennessee sold the opportunity to come play early, and I believe that'll be the case. Similar to Caden Proctor in terms of progression, not size-wise, but how good he is already. Overall, Sanders is an ideal left tackle and will be playing football at a high level for years to come. Alright, we finally got the number 1, and that is Bryce Underwood. He's the number 1 quarterback, and he is headed to Michigan. This is a can't-miss type of prospect. Consensus number 1 player and number 1 quarterback. At 6'4", 210 pounds, Underwood is already built to play quarterback at the next level. Many have compared him to Cam Newton or Vince Young. I think that's a very good comparison given the physical traits and play style. A lot of young quarterbacks panic under pressure on tape. Underwood does not. He has great pocket awareness, and he's like a bar of soap in the pocket. I'm confident in saying he'll see the field next year at Michigan and be the starting quarterback. The risk versus reward ratio is heavily favoring the reward next year. Extending plays and making something out of nothing is a strength of his, and I think that'll go a long way in making him successful. Alright guys, that's going to do it for our top 100 players in the 2025 class. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, as we're on the road to 1,000. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next video.